Hey everyone, Hallie here. Today I wanted to talk about my ranked adventure and my own personal experience as well as what I've learned from playing ranked. I've been solo queuing ranked ever since Marvel Rivals released. In season 1, I believe I hit about platinum, I want to say, or gold. I'm pretty sure I hit gold. And in this season, currently, I believe there is about 60 days left. I could be wrong. But I wanted to talk about what I've learned from solo queuing all the way up to Diamond 1. I want to preface this video by saying I am not a professional player at all. And matter of fact, honestly, in the grand scheme of things, I am not that good. And specifically, I want to bring that up and also talk about the footage that I'm going to be using in the background. The footage I'm using is actually some Diamond 1 gameplay, just some Diamond 1 lobbies, but specifically, these are matches where we lost the game. And I want to start this video off by talking about not only your frame of mind, but also like how you should approach losing. Look, when you play ranked in Marvel Rivals or really any competitive game or really anything in a sport, if you do anything in life, you're not going to win all the time, okay? You are going to lose. And the first and foremost, the most important thing if you get anything out of this video, please take away this. Your mentality is incredibly important, and it is just as, if not more important, than what you are doing in the game, because it directly affects how you are performing in the game. What do I mean by that? Well, usually when you're going to be playing Marvel Rivals, when you first get on, you're going to be in a pretty neutral headspace. Maybe you're a little bit happy, maybe you're going to be playing with some of your buddies who you're excited. But usually you're going in with a neutral frame of mind, and you're just going to play the game. However, you will get to a point where you lose a game. Whether this is a quick play game or competitive, it really doesn't matter. More so competitive, as that is the theme of this video. But you lose a game, and this is the path of divergence for people. This is what separates the boys from the men. When you lose a game, you cannot let that affect you negatively, like mentally. Or put this even further, and this is incredibly important because it will affect all of you. If you are having a bad round, if it is the first round of the game, maybe 4 people insta-lock DPS and you're worried and you think you're gonna lose, just calm down, okay? Maybe request a strategist, maybe request a vanguard if you have 4 DPS, or maybe you're just doing bad. But don't take it out on your team. Do not start throwing. Do not, stand and spawn and just meleeing and spam request healing. That doesn't make you a good player. It holds you back, not only just like as a player, but just like emotionally, like as a human being. If you are letting video games affect you so much to the point where you stop playing them and you want to ruin the game for everyone else, you need to take a break. And that's not to say that you should get off Marvel Rivals forever. And I'm not saying this to be facetious, but you seriously need to be able to handle losses in video games or in Marvel Rivals. And you need to learn how to improve. Whenever you die in Marvel Rivals, think of, how did I die? Why did I die? How could I have prevented my death? Was it because my healer sucks and they didn't heal me? Or is it because I'm across the map and the healers can't even see me, there's no DPS near me, and I'm 1v6ing their entire team? And just think whenever you die. Don't take it out on your healers, don't take it out on your tanks, don't take it out on your DPS. Think. And if anything, if you want to put the blame on anyone, put it on yourself, but put a healthy amount of blame on yourself. Don't beat yourself down too much, because you need to improve, and that you need to have a growth mindset. This is what is important, is you guys need to understand you can grow. So even if you're having a bad game, you'll have bad games, you will lose, you'll have bad teammates. Take your losses, take them on the chest and move on. If you're getting to a point where it can be frustrating, I will say I get frustrated with this game, and what I do is I take a break, because when you are upset, you are going to play worse, you are going to affect your team. You're going to probably start spam pinging more, and then your team finds that annoying, and then your team starts getting mad at you, and it's just this positive feedback loop where everyone's getting mad at each other. So anything you take away from this video, your headspace is incredibly important. If you need to take a break, if you're getting to a point where you're upset and it's affecting your gameplay, I would recommend taking a break. And that is absolutely key, especially when you're solo queuing. It can be unbelievably frustrating. I'm serious. I mean, even in Diamond, I have teammates who you would be surprised that they even like survived past the age of 4. I mean, it is incredible that some people are functioning human beings that play this game and are at the rank of Diamond. But that's just how it is. And you will have games where you do horrible, your team does horrible, and just always think of how you can improve. And look, if it ever gets to a point where it's too much, just take a break. So that was my main key point. And I know I yapped about that for a while, but I really want to hammer away that if you need a break, you can take a break. But when you die, don't blame your teammates. Look inwards, okay? Figure it out. Figure out what you did wrong, how you could have improved. And honestly, guys, this is life advice now. Extend this to every aspect of your life. I'll always try to improve. But, in Marvel Rivals, especially in Ranked, if you want to get good at anything, you need to understand that you will mess up, and you need to learn how to learn from your failures. When you are playing Ranked, or, if you're going to be playing competitive, what I highly recommend, especially when you hit the Diamond ranks, is you need to learn how to play multiple characters. I would recommend learning how to play a Vanguard, a DPS, and a Strategist. The more the merrier, but learn how to play meta characters, or not even meta characters, just learn how to be good with a character and learn how to be helpful for your team. And not to mention, when you hit Diamond, there is a ban phase where at the start of the game, both teams get to pick 2 characters that they are going to ban that nobody in the game can play. So that is possibly 4 characters that are out of rotation that you can play. Your team's going to be playing 5 characters, so that's 9 different characters that possibly can be taken or you won't be able to play. So I highly recommend you just learn how to play multiple characters, and just get good with them. Figure out when you need to use them. And speaking of figuring out when you need to use them, realize when you need to switch. A lot of people, especially duelist mains, those folks who insta-lock DPS at the start of the game, or, just are lured on Scarlet Witch and refuse to switch. If you refuse to switch, my main point here is that you need to learn when you are being helpful in providing for the team. If you are a duelist and you don't feel like you are killing a lot of people, you don't feel like you're doing a lot of damage, look, maybe your tanks are, maybe they're pushing too quickly through your front line. Maybe you need more tanks. Maybe you guys aren't doing any damage and they are just surviving and the healers are just perfectly fine and no one is attacking them. Maybe you need a DPS, or maybe you don't have any healing, and maybe you have tanks and you can block damage, but you guys are dying too quickly. That is the time to switch to a healer. And I'll be honest, there is no rulebook, at least, no rulebook I've made. Maybe there's some rulebook out there for when to switch to what role, whenever you're playing. But what I highly recommend, especially if you're going to be solo queuing, is to learn when your team needs you to switch, because you're going to have games where people refuse to switch. Some people won't take my previous advice of learning multiple characters, and they will just stick to the only character that they know. And in situations like that, you need to be the bigger person and step up. Maybe you're playing a DPS character and it's super fun. I get it. Everyone loves playing duelist, and maybe you don't, whatever. But sometimes you need to switch for the team. And look, I get it. Playing DPS is fun. It is super fun. But you need to learn when to switch. And even if you don't want to, maybe you're having a tough time learning when to switch, my biggest piece of advice in that scenario is to be receptive to switching. Maybe if your teammate tells you, hey, can you switch off Black Widow to maybe a healer, or hey, maybe switch off Iron Fist to a tank, you need to be receptive. Don't try to be less stubborn when you play this game. If your teammates are telling you, hey, maybe fall back, try falling back, okay? That's another huge piece of advice. People can be quite resilient, and especially just in our landscape of, especially the United States, but just like modern online culture, people are incredibly hostile, and people are also incredibly defensive and reactionary. So just have an open mind, take a deep breath, and again, this all circles back to just trying to stay calm. Don't be too stubborn. Be open to switching, and realize when your team needs you to switch, and realize when your team needs like a healer or a tank or a DPS. That is a key thing to do. And you will notice I will absolutely 100% stand by this. If you are willing to step up and switch when your team needs it, maybe it can be a little bit drastic at first, but your team will follow suit, and they will start switching characters when they start figuring out, oh, okay, this person switched to a healer, and it's actually helping us really well. Maybe I should stay on my character. Maybe I too should switch. So, you know, be that bigger person. Be willing to switch characters. And if you want to switch characters and be confident, learn multiple characters. On the note of learning characters, try not to learn characters in ranked, please, for the sake of your team. I have had games where, you know, tank mains try to play healers and it doesn't go well, or when healers try to play DPS and it goes not well. So, you know, try to hold off playing on characters you're less comfortable with in ranked, but, you know, if you don't have any characters that you're really comfortable with and they're all taken, I honestly recommend just playing, like, more characters. You need to learn how to play multiple characters if you want to excel, especially as a solo queue player. So we talked about a lot of, you know, like positioning and mentality stuff, which is all incredibly important, but just as important, if not a little bit less important, but, you know, still very important, is how you play the game, is your mechanical skill, your ability to aim, your ability to, you know, shoot, shoot good and hit the enemies. Your mechanics of being able to look around and aim are incredibly important, not only in just shooter games in general, but especially if you want to be playing Marvel Rivals competitive. To be quite honest, I don't have too many recommendations as far as specific settings you should take. You know, adjust your sensitivity as needed. There are plenty of guides online, not only for like sensitivity and whatnot, but also for crosshairs. I will be honest, I have not changed my settings from the default settings for any characters, so I have the default crosshair on every character. And I know that might be blasphemous to some people, but you know, look, my point being with this is sometimes it's not just your crosshair. Sometimes it is your crosshair, but sometimes you just need practice. Sometimes it's your headspace, and I mean, just sometimes it's just a bad day. And with that being said, I think it's a good place to round up the video there. What I hope you guys take away from this video, and I'm sure you get this message, is focus on your headspace. If, you know, go into Marvel Rivals competitive, you know, you don't have to be super happy or anything, but try not to be super pessimistic. Try not to bring down your team. Try not to be annoying. Try not to be obnoxious. Try not to spam ping, and just play the game. Do your best. You know, try to be a team player. If your team needs a healer, switch to a healer. If your team needs a tank, switch to a tank. Your team will always have a DPS. So with that being said, though, I hope this video does help you guys. And yeah, with all that being said, you know, keep in mind, I'm no professional player. If you guys do have any pieces of your own advice, please be sure to leave them down in the comments below. But yeah, I hope this video proved useful to you. If you learned anything, be sure to leave a like. If you want to see more Marvel Rivals videos, be sure to subscribe. And I will see you all in the next one. Bye-bye.